Hello, I am Sixth Classer, and welcome to the ShrubSMP Season 7. This is Episode 18. Today, we're catching up at the Dark Castle build site. On today's episode, we have started over here on top of a glass platform that I have built since last time on top of our auto sorting machine because all those hoppers are going to be making me increasingly nervous until I cover them up so that no stray items as we do some building fall in them and break the whole machine. So we built that platform last time. That's where we're starting off today. And on today's episode here in the central tower, you can already see behind me a couple new additions on top of this glass. That is one very special block, which is going to be the subject of today's video, and where a creeper farm is going to be built way up in the sky so that we can have gunpowder for when we get our elytra so that we can start flying around this server. And the second part is to continue to make this tower a tower, and that is one little bit behind me, where I started placing the outline to see exactly how tall the tower is going to be if I continued. So for today's episode, we're going to get that built on all four sides and then leave it there for the time being so that we can build up our creeper farm. So that's going to be the plan for today, and we're going to need a lot of blackstone to get it done, as well as my traditional building blocks. Where's the regular ones? Ah, yes, we got plenty of regular blackstone from the Nether that we're going to be using to pile up and build up all of these walls on all four sides. And then from there, it's time to figure out exactly where that creeper farm in the sky is going to go. And I have some fun ideas on how to make it active, kind of like everything else we're doing around here. There's going to be some things flying through the air. There's going to be water transportation systems and all kind of fun involved with getting those items from the creepers as they meet their demise. So for now, first things first, I think we're going to just fill up the inventory with a bunch of polished blackstone and then head on up. After I drop off the salmon will come into play later. As a matter of fact, we'll just say it now. You can see that we've moved two of the cats over and we bred up another cat, so we currently have 4. I'm going to need at least 5 cats for this creeper farm, so we'll have to breed up another one. And what the heck, since we're talking about it, let's just go ahead and do it now. To breed a cat, you just need to feed it some fish. And to do that, they actually have to be standing. Well, they have to be standing to at least do the breeding. You can actually feed them first. So I'm going to feed this cat and that cat. And then we'll click allow them to stand up. Then we got to make them sit down before they run away. So you sit, and yo, come back here. You sit, little guy. Isn't it cute? All right, so we got a new little baby orange one. They'll grow up shortly. Then we'll have all the cats we need, and we'll see later in the episode how that comes into play. But in the meantime, it's time to head up here and prepare to build the outline of this tower. And since that involves the placement of a whole bunch of the same block and basically repeating patterns, it's going to be time-lapse time, which means we're going to go ahead and do this in the form of a time-lapse, and we're going to get started on it right now. Alright, well, about 35 minutes later, and we have most of this tower kind of built up here. Let's go on the inside. What we did was we kind of finished off this side here. We terraformed the cliff side so that we could finish these walls straight up, and we still have the same to do over here. Now, I was actually thinking, if I go to the other side, or the outside, if I can find my way out of here, maybe we leave that part, or at least a lot of it, so it looks like it was still kind of built into the mountainside there. Yeah, so I think actually that might be the play. Well, can always come back and get it later, but I like the idea that this feature there is kind of sticking out. But let's turn our attention to these open corners. Now, I think that's the next little bit of detail. I wanted to use some color now. Now that we have all this blackstone up there, we want to add some color to the corners. And to do that, I was thinking that we would use the woods from the Nether, because they are a little bit creepy, and they even have some animation, which we'll see when we get our hands on some. Alright, so I've taken a trip to the Nether because I want to collect these 2 woods, and we have finally come across a Crimson Forest, and we have to start chopping these trees. Now, one of the things that we do have on this server is the MMO skills, and one of the skills is Tree Feller, which I can actually chop all these trees. Alright, 3, 2, 1, you right click, ready your axe, and you left click, and you just destroy everything. And it's only active for a few seconds, You gotta have to avoid the pig before it kills you. It's now worn off, so that's about the best I could do. But as you can see, some got into the lava. That's all right, because we'll just run around and collect it. Oh, hope we don't get knocked down into the abyss there. So we'll have to fight them back with our axe before we can switch weapons. All right, good. Well, that's kind of the idea, like I said. So it's an easy way with this adventure pack to collect massive items of wood at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with this Crimson Forest. We'll keep going around. We'll collect maybe a couple more stacks of the Crimson Stem, and then we'll head on off to the Blue Forest. Alright, so after a little more adventuring, we found ourselves a warped forest, so it's time to get some of this wood, and then we can head back to the Dark Castle and start building those sides of the tower up. Alright, so we teleported back with a successful trip to the Nether, and as you can see, my axe has got a little low durability at this point, but if we look at the inventory, we got plenty of Crimson Stem and Warped Stem to get started on this, and what I've done is kind of prepared one corner, kind of run a little short on time on this episode, so what I want to do is definitely get to the creeper farm to finish it off, but in the meantime, I've cleared off this corner, and we'll start here to kind of start this pattern. Now, what I plan to do is to use the Crimson Stem and the Warp Stem going red to blue from the outside in, and what that will look like is to go ahead and do the red, and then at the bottom level, there will be 3 of the Warp Stem. Red, blue, 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 red, right? And they'll go up to the next level, and then now there's only going to be 1 less there. So I think it's red, blue, red, and then there's a smaller space. You'll get the idea as we go on with this build. So I'll work on that as the time passes, but in the meantime, it's time to consider the second part of this episode in which we're going to build a creeper farm right up in the middle of this thing. Alright, so as we get to the top of this glass platform, I had mentioned that this block was a very special block, and that is because I've kind of pre-measured a lot of the distances that are required for creeper spawning and despawning and items to fall, and our first step here is to take this block and build a pillar to about 90 blocks from where this one is. So we're going to start with that as number 1. We're going to add 90 more. Then all we have to do is get down to the bottom and put a ladder on every one so that we can climb back up there. And when we get up to the top, we'll explain why it is that that number is so important. Alright, so here we are at the top of the pillar. We've made it. And why this is so important, way up here, we've put a torch down just so we don't inadvertently cause any creepers to fall on top of the sorting machine. That would be disastrous. Is because you need the creeper farm. Now, above me, in the sky up here, is where the creeper farm is actually going to be. This is the spawning platform. We need an additional 24 blocks of clearance before the first level of the farm. This level of the farm gets me away from the surface, where imagine if there was a 128 block sphere all the way around from where I'm standing right here. Believe it or not, it goes right to the actual surface, so I don't have to worry about any mobs spawning on the surface and taking up the mob cap. They're only going to spawn above me, and if I give enough clearance above me, that'll maximize the space for the farm. So all I gotta do is either jump back down and risk it, or I can teleport back, which is exactly what I'm gonna do. And here I am. Oh no, I left my bed up there, but anyway. We now have to make a bunch of ladders so we can climb back up there and build a small little platform and then move on to the next step, which will involve moving these cats, at least the first cat, into position and building the first platform. Well, good news for me is that we had plenty of sticks from the bamboo farm, so we can make plenty of ladders, and all we have to do then is just start the process and climb on up as we place them. We'll see at the top. Well, after getting back up here, I realized I needed to go back down and get a bunch of blocks, which I did, and I added this little alcove, which is actually going to be the spawning spot. So right here, where I'm standing, is where the spawn platform is going to be. To build the farm, I just need to go up about 16 more levels to start where the base is, and we'll show you what that looks like. It's going to be a hopper collection system that we are going to feed into a dispenser system, just like the ones that are feeding the water streams down there. And I was wrong about that. It only has to be at about 206, so we'll go down a few levels, get to 206. Here we go. Where are these coordinates? All right, so I got them written down off to the side here, and I'm trying to kind of move in the sky as I find the right spot. 328. You scratch that, positive Z direction, so that's this way. I was right the first time. 1, 2, 3. One more. And I think that's it. But now, as I realize, the sun's gonna be going down soon. I do not have my bed on me. We're gonna work in the nighttime. That's gonna mean we're gonna need to have another torch up here. So I want to get my targeted block to be right here is where a dispenser will be. And now I bought the hoppers with me. I didn't bring the dispenser, but the first hopper goes right here. Now that's exactly where I want to be if I'm looking at my reference correctly. So from here, all we have to do is create, we got a shift to do that. We create kind of a hopper collection system here where these are going to go into that dispenser, which will shoot the items down at the bottom. Now from here, the platform is basically just a 3x3 feeding system with 1 point on each end. So we're going to go ahead and put the 3x3 in first. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 on both sides. Easy peasy. And then 1 on each end. We already have the one on the front end. We'll get these 2 on the sides and the back end. Bang. Okay, so this is the platform where the creepers will be falling to their demise. And on their demise, we're going to use soul campfires to destroy them. And they're going to look like this right on the end of each one of these. And I'll start filling them in. And as I do this, I realize I don't really have much of a way off here. I'm going to have to go back onto the dirt platform. But from here, once I get this up, what we're going to be doing is we're going to put a water chamber down here next. And then we'll put on the different floors. All right, so the first step in this process is to build a little 3-block high wall of stone. And I'm going to put some glass in there to be able to see the creepers as they come down in. So we'll get this thing built up. And then move on to the water chamber, where the creepers will then get flooded as they fall down. Whoops, got an extra one there. As they fall down into this flame chamber. All right, so now the next step in this process is to go up one more and 5 out from each point. And then once you get to the end, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we want this to be 7 long. So that's 3 on each side, and that will make 7. So a 5x7 platform. And we're going to do this on all of the sides and then build it up a couple layers, I think 3 more, so that we can then fill in the water. So when creepers fall down here, they will get funneled to the middle and into those fires. All right, so now we got that platform finished, and all we need to do is bring this up by 1 so that we can have a wall to contain the water. And in each corner, right here we'll demonstrate, we can put an extra support beam by just having an extra corner in here that will lead to the next level, which will be the creeper first level spawning platform. We'll then build up the first level of the platform and then speed run the last. We'll do a time lapse for the remaining levels of the farm because we are definitely running out of time. That's not going to stop us from completing this creeper farm. All right, so we have that done. We're not going to put the water in just yet. We are going to build the first floor, and you take your building block of choice and just follow the outline that you've already bought here, these 5x7s, and complete a full platform, but leaving over here in the corner these 2 blocks. So basically those 2, if we start right here, a space of 2x7 that the creepers will be falling down from each level as the cats scare them to the end. All right, well, the next step in the process, I had to go, let me tell you, getting up and down from this thing is wild. So I had to build a little more of a scaffolding, ladders and everything just to get up to this level. Went down and got some carpets and trapdoors because that is going to help us spawn the creepers. Now, there's different patterns that you can put these carpets in, and I just like to put them on each corner of these openings, 1 in, and then from the middle, there's going to be, actually, let's put them down. We got a trapdoors to contain the cat that's going to be in the middle when we get it up here. And right off one of the corners, right there. All 4 corners. That one. And that one. And repeat that pattern all throughout the bottom. And that is how the creepers will be the only things that then spawn in based on the size of their hitbox compared to the other mobs that can spawn. And then once they spawn, they're going to get scared by the cat and look to escape. And to escape, they have to pathfind. And part of their pathfinding rules is they want to find a solid block, which will be this wall on the other side. And if you use trapdoors, that tricks the creepers into thinking that they can actually walk across it. They fall into the hole, and then they head down into the water, and the water leads them to their demise, like I said. So we'll just add these all across, and then move on to the next step, which is putting the roof on this thing, and then getting the cat over here. Alright, the trapdoors are all complete, and I had to go all the way back down and all the way back to my starter area to pick up some tinted glass that I had crafted in storage there, because I like to use tinted glass as the walls to these creeper farms, because they're not transparent, being the tinted glass, and that means that it will still block the light, which is required, and you can also have a nice cool effect so you can see in from a distance. Now, I had mentioned that we wanted this last block to be the block that helps them pathfind, to feel like they're going to escape, and to do that, I actually just leave it open by 1, and this way, the creepers will then think that they can get over here, and then we'll use all of these walls will be too high with the tinted glass to keep the darkness on the inside and keep the light out, and then we will do this for all of the 4 sides and make a too high wall that will then give us the first level of the chamber almost complete. We'll put a roof on it with some trapdoors to make it just tall enough. Uh-oh, I'm not going to be able to get out of there. We'll figure that out in a second. And then we will bring the cat up. All right, so we got all the walls in place. It's time for the cat, and as much as I wanted to do something fun like bring it up in a water column or maybe a crazy minecart thing, we are just so far up in the sky, and I'm going to have to climb up this ladder. We're just going to teleport back home. And pick our first cat by just making it sit up. Hey, here we go. You're going to come with me. And then see, cats teleport to you when you're farther away from them. And we're going to take advantage of that by just climbing up the ladder. And then by the time we get to the top and then up onto that platform, hopefully the cat will then be right by our side. All right, we're up here on the first. Oh, look at that. It beat me up here. Okay, up to the next level. Oh, the cat almost pushed me off. Okay, okay. What am I going to do? Alright, and as I get to the top of this ladder, let's hop on into the thing. Oh, there he goes, and come on over. Perfect. Alright, now we get you to sit down. Just sit there. And we're going to have to set up a little minecart system to get them into this spot, and then that might be it. Just kind of nudge them into position, and hopefully we can get them into this cart. Perfect, there we go. All right, so then all you got to do is clean up the rails and let them sit there where they will be here forever, scaring the creepers as they spawn. That means the last thing to do is to put a roof on this thing, align it with trapdoors, and that will be the first level. So again, all we really do is take our block of choice and kind of fill in this same pattern that we have below and get it so it covers all of the space in the spawning area below. And then we go underneath and put trapdoors on all of them to make the space just tall enough for creepers and only creepers. Well, spiders could also fit, but that's why we have the carpet. All right, we've got the roof. It's time to just slip on down here and pop that last one in, and we'll take out the torch a little bit later. Now it's time for these trapdoors. We only got so many left. I may have to actually go back down the ladder again, but in the meantime, like I said, we're just going to fill this space up. Fill the space up only where the floor is actually what we need to do, and we'll get that done. And we will almost be done and hit the time lapse in just a few moments. Alright, so as you can see, I have all the trapdoors in place. We have the roof on this thing. Now the first level is complete, which means all we have to do is repeat this 4 more times. And we're going to do that by going back to the roof, if I can figure my way out here. And then from there, hitting that time lapse. So I got to go down this perilous ladder and then collect a whole bunch of the materials that I'll need and meet you back up on the top. Alright, so actually we're taking a little detour because I am over here at the iron farm. It's just kind of ironic here. K-pop's on the server and they're looking for poppies. Just yesterday, I added a second chest because it was getting so full. The single chest was almost overfilling at our iron farm. So they're looking for 2 stacks. We'll grab them And we'll head on over to spawn, say hi, and give those as a little gift since we have so many. All right, here we are. Oh, and the song plays. Let's see where we can find a K-pop here, because we got the poppies in our hand, or at least in our inventory. Where'd you go? Where are you? Hey, there they go. All right, hey, what's happening, buddy? All right, so we got one, we got two. There are 2 stacks for you, my friend. All right, do I want anything in return? Nope, don't need anything in return. Everything's good. We're all fine. Thanks a lot. Have fun and enjoy. And let's head back. Whoop, just like that with the magic of teleportation. It's a useful tool there that triggers spawn and teleport home. Back up top we go. All right, I've climbed up to the top with a inventory full of materials. I also gonna need a way down. So what I did is I built just off to the side here a little water right down there to be able to jump into and then climb back up as I go. But that means it is finally time for this time lapse, and we are gonna roll it right now and build the last 4 floors of the creeper farm. Let's go. All right, well, we got at least most of it done in that time lapse. I have run out of materials. I've also run out of time, and we still have a couple little less details to finish. So I think what we're going to do is save that for the beginning of next episode. And in the meantime, we just have to take the last couple steps to at least demonstrate this thing during the outro video, where we can go down, knock out the torches, put the water in the collection system. And as you can see, I've kind of capped. We only made it 4 levels. This is supposed to be 5 levels, but we were short on time and materials, like I said. I've kind of capped the fall space here to allow it to stay dark. This will become the 5th level when we start the next episode. But I think that is where we're going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know with a like, and if you want to follow along, please consider subscribing. But for now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.